let's just be casual,
Cursing.
just information,
PG.
right? Just information about what you're doing. I'll introduce Todd. Todd, you can introduce Chris, and then we'll just get into whatever you want to talk about.
Chris, tell me your last name again. It's
Alderton.
Alderton.
Alderton. Okay. All right.
You like Christopher?
Nah, it's Chris. Okay.
Chris is fine. Yep.
The third.
The third. Nice. Well, I'm the third, so that'll be awesome. That'll be awesome for sure. And yeah, we should be good to go and live. And so, gosh, it's gonna be fun. Chris, I appreciate you sitting down and doing this with me, man.
Yeah, no worries. You don't have a choice.
Absolutely. No choice at all. I certainly didn't give you one, did I? I certainly didn't give you a choice at all in the matter. But yeah, cool. How's everyone? Yeah, M-Dog is in the house and Todd is in the house. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Todd is here, M-Dog. And yeah, thank you for joining in, M-Dog, and for any others who join into the live, welcome. I have the pleasure to be sitting here with two fine gentlemen who've graced me not only with their presence, but also with some delicious wine from the good old down under. Yeah? Absolutely. Well, we have my buddy Todd here from Forager Wines, and he's brought along a special guest from the Brothers at War Winery. I'll let you do the introductions, Todd, of Chris.
Sure.
So yeah, turn it on over to you, man.
Yeah, so this is Chris Alderton, right? Second generation grape grower, partner at Brothers at War. They do about 5,000 cases a year, and Chris is the one in the vineyard making the magic happen, and he's visiting the States for the next week.
Yep.
And he's had the displeasure of spending the last 2 days with me. Yeah.
The displeasure, huh?
Right?
That's been good. Yeah, it's been good. Thanks, Bernie and Todd.
Oh, absolutely. It's great to have you here. I see you've already poured up one wine.
Yes, we've got a Riesling. So we're focusing in on from down under, down to South Australia, into the Barossa Valley. And then majority of what we're going to talk about today is a sub-region of the Barossa Valley being Eden Valley.
Eden Valley,
So
yeah.
Higher, cooler climate, produces really, really elegant wines. Riesling is famous from this region. We've also got Shiraz and a few other varieties that we do really well in that area. So yeah. So we are currently drinking the Riesling. So it's a dry finish Riesling. Yeah, nice and crisp.
No, I will say, Eden Valley, this was a place, been away from Australian wines for a little while, but this was a place that was well known for the Riesling especially, right? Just such a unique expression of Riesling would come from Eden Valley.
Yeah.
And I'm sure as you've tasted wines from around the world and as you grow and produce, a Riesling from that region, you agree?
Definitely. Yeah. So what we've got now is our dry finish Riesling. So it's our 2024. It's beautiful, easy to drink. You've got some nice citrus notes in there. There's a little bit of floral flavour smells coming through, but you finish with that nice dry minerality you're looking for from a Riesling. So very nice. The weather out here is, 24, 25 degrees Celsius, we would say in Australia.
Okay, and what does that mean in Fahrenheit?
It's 80,
78,
something like that. Perfect. So it's perfect weather for drinking Riesling. So,
absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
So as far as pairing, we do a lot of food pairing and stuff with this wine. So I'd suggest seafood. We got crabs from over at Maryland, not far from here, and with cheese. So yeah, goes really well.
Yeah, so we're a little higher elevation in Eden Valley, right? So it creates wines with a little bit more backbone of acidity, prettier wines to me.
Yep.
And when we first got introduced to Brothers at War, I was most excited about bringing in the Riesling because I feel like historically people, of course, always associate Shiraz or Syrah with Australia, but the country is, one, capable of so many different styles of Shiraz, but beyond that, the Riesling, the Semillon, the Chardonnay, the Grenache are all beautiful, right? And this region in particular, to me, creates these fresher, more food-friendly wines, you know? And so I was super stoked about bringing the Riesling, but then, of course, after we tasted everything else, I love everything else as well, which is the, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the ability for it to stay so fresh, very clean, aromatically, just, you know, there with the crispness of such a high acidity. It's the terroir in the sense that it ripens pretty nicely, but then you're able to have such a brisk acidity. How?
So what we do is this is hand picked, so hand harvested, what we call. It's taken into the winery. The free run is taken out. It goes into one tank. All that is before we apply pressure to the grapes in the press. That goes to one tank. Second tank, we start applying some pressure to the grapes. We don't over apply too much pressure because then we start getting characteristics we don't really want in the wine. So that goes to a second tank. They both go through fermentation at the same time in two different tanks, and then we come back and we reblend them before we bond them. So, and again, generally that's a 2 to 3 months process with white wine. You can produce it very early and very young. So there you're also retaining that acidity and that nice freshness that you want in the wine, so, which is shown in the bottle today.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like you've got a pretty long growing season. Which
Yep.
allows the grapes to slowly ripen and create a lot of complexity.
Definitely, yeah. So,
I love the lime zest.
Yeah.
Finish this. So, you know, a lot of people probably look at it and say, oh, it's Riesling, it must be sweet.
Right, exactly.
But, like, perception on the palate here is completely dry, you know, so the...
Literally bone dry.
Yeah. So, delicious food wine and delicious wine on a, what Celsius? How many Celsius?
25?
Today, what?
22 degrees Celsius.
20, on a 22 degrees Celsius day.
Yeah, that sounds cold to me, but I guess, right.
Should we jump to the cab?
All right. Well, yeah, where are we going next? That was delicious, by the way. And it's been a little while since I've had an Eden Valley Riesling. So refreshing. Yeah.
And so I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with the reds, too, because I think, like you, Bernie, I was more familiar with Eden Valley for Riesling.
Right.
And I can't say that I had really tasted a lot of reds from Eden Valley. And these two next wines that we'll be tasting, both reds from Eden Valley, create a really pretty, fresh style that's not too high in alcohol, more elegant.
Okay.
We'll let Chris talk about it since he makes it.
Yeah, cool.
Right.
So throw out everything you know about Cabernet and Cabernet from Australia. This is totally different. So again, this is probably the last grape variety that we actually pick every year. It's normally picked in April, May, so it's quite late. The Riesling we just tried, always picked in February, up to the first week of March. This one always goes into late April, into May. So the leaves are starting to fall off. It's the end of the season. Everyone's had enough, but we have to wait for it to come into the winery from the vineyard. So, but just that time, the extra time on the vine, I think just allows it to relax and the fruit to just have some layers of complexity that you generally don't see from other warmer climates, climate areas. So, what we've got is a really soft tannins in this one. So we've got those mulberry flavours that you're expecting from that. You've got nice red fruits in there, but nice and soft and easy to drink. It's a favourite of mine.
Absolutely. So this is called the Pendy Farm, huh?
Yeah, so Pendy Farm is essentially a farm. That's where I live. It's the vineyard. We've got some plantings that date back 85 years, and the youngest plantings we've got, other than what I've planted this year, another 2 acres of Sangiovese. We've got most of the plantings were done 25 to 28 years ago. So, so what that does is gives us a different variety and different patches that we can put into different bottles. So, and it gives that a complexity, and when we get up to the fist fight, you'll see that complexity come through from the older vines.
So we were talking earlier today about sometimes how aggressive the tannins can be in Cabernet, you know? And so maybe when we think about domestic Cabernet from places like Napa, you'll often have producers blend Merlot to soften it out, to soften that really edgy tannin out. But gosh, tasting this, right, which is 100% Cabernet, yeah?
Yep.
It's soft and supple without the need for Merlot to soften that out, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's in it.
Wow.
It takes me back to 1997.
1997. What happened then?
So 97 was looked at as this great vintage for Napa,
Okay.
and you had a lot of producers that traditionally had blended Merlot with their cab, but that vintage just made very soft, supple Cabernet, and so it was one of the best vintages in the last, however many, 30, 40 years.
Gotcha.
And a lot of producers that would blend Merlot didn't blend Merlot that year because the cab was so approachable on its own. And that's kind of what I taste when I taste the.
Yeah, and again, we're drinking 2023.
Yeah.
And I've a similar story. 2023 is one of those vintages that everything went really perfect for us.
Right,
Conditions are right. We didn't get any heat waves. It just was nice. We could allow the fruit to stay out there a little longer.
Okay.
And it just built that complexity to it. So that's one of those years that you'll go remember.
Right.
So anything you see at Barossa Valley wise from 23,
Was all
grab
great.
it. Just grab it because it's going to be a great wine. It's very hard to make a bad wine in 23.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, good to know. Cheers. This is delicious. Now, Todd, of course, being within the import and distribution realm for such a long time.
Not that long.
For such a long time, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Todd is an OG. Gosh, I guess I've known Todd now for probably 2 decades at least.
We were like 3.
Yeah,
3 or 4 years old.
exactly.
Yeah.
Probably 2.5 decades or so at this point, right?
Absolutely.
But we've seen just the swing when it comes to Australian wines, Aussie wines. They really hit in the U.S. market big time at a point, and then there was a little bit of maybe a falling of demand.
Yes.
For a bit. I see that you fell in love with the Riesling. We're moving along with the rest of the line now. What's your sentiments about kind of what sets this particular winery apart in your line and going after them so aggressively?
It's so. It's a good point, right here in the States. I think especially for folks in the trade, the wholesalers, we probably did a pretty poor job back in the day with Australian wines in terms of really trying to exemplify the diversity, right? Where, Shiraz hit the market and people fell in love with Shiraz. And we didn't do a great job of showing regionality. I think the American palate thought, it's Shiraz from Australia, and so it tastes like this. But, Australia is just about as big as the continental United States. So, Shiraz grown on the East Coast or in Barossa or on the West Coast are completely different, And so with these, those Shiraz back in the early, I would say 2000s that really hit, where they were big extracted inky wines, which are usually, some of your critics like Robert Parker back in the day really liked those big, strong wines.
Yeah.
But they could, for me, it was hard to have more than 2 or 3 glasses of them. They're pretty high alcohol. They could overpower foods, So coming back now and showing a subregion like Eden Valley and how elegant they can be, I think surprises a lot of people, right? So.
Yeah, this
drinking
one is
well, isn't it?
so charming. Yeah. The acidity of it is what really blows me away. Immediately. It almost has this charm about it when I think of Australian wines. I'm thinking New World. Yeah. Right? Now there is kind of this charming fruit profile that this has, the black fruit tones, a hint of mint kind of underneath or what have you, that gives me an association sometimes with Australian. Reds especially, but the acidity of this reminds me more so of Old World, right? It reminds me maybe of a Bordeaux, more kind of focused, Tannins are well integrated. It's almost on the palate a softer, not so kind of voluptuous extracted production. But it seems like it has some layers underneath that, in some
To
a
me,
little
it's
bit of
more
time will.
it's more elegant of a wine than maybe I was familiar with back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, big
Which,
time.
it's like everything goes in waves, and for a while there, it was the pendulum had swung to really big wines, and for a while it was, buttery oaky Chardonnay is a great example, right? And
For sure.
and the pendulum swung back the other way, where people did a lot of stainless steel, that sort of thing. And I think the American palate, particularly nowadays, is gone from that very big extracted back towards more of a balanced style, which these I think exemplify. I mean, just wait until you taste the Shiraz.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So that's where we're going next.
Okay. The Shiraz. All right. Well, I think this cab was super delicious. We're going to get into the Shiraz. I'll show you another picture of the Pindy Farms Cabernet Sauvignon from the land down under, down in Australia. I'm going to stop saying that now. Absolutely. So good stuff. Good stuff.
So we're on the Eden Valley Syrah now. Shiraz.
We are on the Syrah now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to move from the Cabernet. Here we're going to have hints of chocolate.
Oh yeah.
Nice and smooth. Tannins are very, very soft in this one. You got the pepper and spice that you expect from Shiraz.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
As far as winemaking goes, similar to the Cabernet, we're using about 20% new French oak. The rest is aged oak. So it's in that lighter style. So it's not going to be big and oaky and knock you out, but it's just going to be there and nice and subtle there, and just complement the Shiraz that's in the wine. So
Beautiful.
very, very easy to drink. So again, I don't know how many times I've said today, Todd, barbecue weather, yep.
Leg of lamb, man.
Yep.
Leg of lamb.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, this on the nose, I get this really soft, almost mocha, and then definitely fruit. But I mean, on the palate, it is so bright, and refreshing, right? So, like this at this temperature, which is maybe just a little over cellar temperature, 50, 55, 60 degrees. It's like perfect.
80 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. 55, 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Definitely not Celsius. That would be a little warm. Yeah.
So again, this is about a 28-year-old part of the vineyard, so it's got a little bit of complexity there.
Okay.
But very, very easy to drink. It's a very slurpable wine. And I think you're right when you talk about this wine, it is really well balanced, right?
Yeah.
So the sweetness and the acidity, it just all works together. And that how we do that, well, that happens in the vineyard. We pick the grapes when they need to be picked, not when we need them in the winery. So that's the difference. So we do everything. We are very small. We grow our own grapes. We harvest our own grapes. We have got a winery set up to manage temperature control ferments. Like we do everything as best as we can, which results in you tasting in the glass essentially what we're tasting in the vineyard. I think that's the key to what we do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned earlier that 20% of this is you throw the whole cluster, stems and everything. And so what does that do stylistically for the wine?
Yeah, whole bunch we call it. So what it is it just adds a bit more texture to the wine. It just gives those different flavour profiles that come through. So essentially everything we do hand-picked goes into half-ton bins, comes into the winery. 80% of that is de-stemmed, so the stems we take out, we just leave the whole berries. We then take that half-ton bin, we put it into the fermenters, we keep those berries whole as long as we can. For the next 10 days while it's fermenting, we pump over twice a day. So we essentially pump the juice that comes out of the grapes from the bottom back over the top, and it produces that beautiful colour. So the colour that you see.
The colour is magnificent, right?
And we're getting those floral flavours come through. We're getting those nice. Everything that's happening in there is just from gentle processes. Keeping the berries as whole as we can, not macerating them up where you lose a lot of flavour. So everything once you look after it,
Yeah.
look after you. It's how we sort of
Look
go
after
things.
it,
like
looks
it.
after you.
I like it.
Love it. Right. Right. Absolutely.
And now your biggest challenge here is not pest or anything like it's drought. Is that?
Yeah, drought at the moment. It's been very dry in the southern part of Australia.
Okay.
The northern parts had a lot of rain, similar to
Okay.
what you saw here over the last few days.
Sure.
But yeah, very, very dry down south. So, which it's an issue that we have, but we sort of deal with it by bringing other techniques into the vineyard, such as using a lot of straw mulch.
Sure.
So we put a lot of straw mulch under the vine, and what that does when, especially for the Riesling, it allows that acidity to stay there right through to harvest. If we didn't do that, the acidity will drop out before it's actually ripe. By putting down the mulch, we essentially give ourselves 2 extra weeks of moisture there, which the acidity stays nice and high. So there's other things we do, such as kaolin clay. We essentially put a sunscreen on the grapes, so it stops them from burning when we get degrees above 40 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
You'll get burning if you haven't got enough growth in the vineyard. So so there's techniques that we can do to make sure
It's natural and it gives like a sort of white reflective coating on the.
That's right. Yep.
Absolutely.
I know my wife is very
Now,
fair
is that
skinned,
something
so
that's something that you can spray on? You can spray
We
that
mix
on,
it up
right?
and we mix it up in water as a sort of really
Spray it on
slurry,
sunscreen.
and it just sprays them.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. That's neat.
all natural.
All
Yeah,
natural.
it is. It's a natural
Absolutely.
product.
From the earth. That's right. Amazing. Well, just very impressed about how, the varietal character of this Syrah really shines through, especially with the spicy characteristic. Those peppers on the finish are there, but it's
that bright
lighter. It's
red.
bright. You know. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fun.
Yep. Tick that one. That's tick the box.
And that one is for me. Oftentimes as we get warmer, you think maybe not reds in the summertime, but this one is fresh, right?
Yeah,
And so
so
and it's also Shiraz has always been a great pairing with grilling, smoking meats, that sort of thing. So
Put it in the fridge half an hour before you want to drink it. When it gets warmer,
slightly chill.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, and this still has a little a nice tannic nature about it, though, right?
Like a little bit. Is that you get a little bit of that from the stems as well?
That's that 20% or so about than a whole bunch. Just allows that little bit extra tannins. Yeah, which is complexity. So
Right, absolutely. But you can still chill it. You can still
Definitely.
chill
Yeah,
it, and it does well.
Yep.
But I'm sure after it breathes a little bit, it kind of opens up a bit more. The freshness is able to be really just maintained quite nice.
definitely.
That bit of tannic structure.
Yep.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Cool.
So what are we tasting now?
Dig
This
it.
one,
All
we're
right.
moving on to our fist fight Shiraz. So again, what
This fight.
this one and how it
Nice.
differs from the last Shiraz we just had, we're bringing in some Barossa Valley fruit. So this is
Okay.
the other part of the main part of the Barossa, where what we're doing is bringing 60% of Barossa Valley fruit and blending it with 40% from Eden Valley. But the Eden Valley fruit is slightly different than what we just had, different parts of the fruit. We've got some 85-year-old dry-grown Shiraz in here,
Okay.
blended with that same 28-year-old Shiraz that we had in the last one.
Nice.
We're using still about 20% new French oak, and we're doing about 20% whole bunch as well. So what you do is you get that a bit bigger and heavier, but not overpowering from the valley floor. Again, we're still 14% alcohol in these ones, so still quite light, and that's at that point where you can still get all the fruit.
Yeah.
So it's really fruit forward. So
Good.
It's also like I get as we've had it open today. Like I get just like this touch of mint on the nose too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah. More so than the initial Syrah, right? Or Shiraz.
So with this one,
And while I just said that, Shiraz, Syrah.
so I'd probably
Since we're
I'd refer to the previous one as a Syrah.
Yeah.
Right? So we pick it a little bit earlier.
Okay.
We use mostly aged oak in that one. Right. So it's a stylistic difference. Same grape varieties, comes from the same vineyard, same everything.
Yep.
However, this one is it's a bit heavier and bolder. So we put Shiraz on it. to make sure that people know that you're going to get a little bit more complexity to it, and that's to do with the older vines that go into this. You're just getting some other layers, and you're getting a bit more complexity of it, as you can see. The other one, as we say, chill that one down, barbecue or grill, as you say here, perfect on a warm day. This one's got a little bit more complexity to it, very much a food wine, right? It lifts it up, but again, you're getting those characteristics you want from Shiraz, your pepper and spice, you're getting a nice little bit of an oak come through. Perfect.
So, Syrah you call Shiraz, and Mourvedre?
Mourvedre, Mataro.
Mataro. And then Cabernet?
Cab Sav.
Cabernet, okay. Cabernet, okay. Everybody has different synonyms, right? Like wherever you go in the world, there's a ton different. So,
but Riesling's always Riesling.
Riesling is almost always Riesling,
right?
You know.
And do you do Sauvignon Blanc down there?
We don't. It's further south. So Eden Valley, it's only about 8 kilometres different. So that's I don't know, might be 5 mile.
Okay.
From Adelaide Hills. Adelaide Hills wine region, or that is GI of Adelaide Hills, is really well known for its Sauvignon Blanc.
Yep. Now we touched on this, right, with the age here, right? The older vines.
Yep. So that's adds that complexity to it.
Yeah, it gives you more depth and complexity.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
All these wines are built off of a nice acidity and freshness. None of them, even this kind of bigger Shiraz style wine, is heavy and weighty, kind of weighing things down, or it doesn't seem to be overly over like higher alcohol.
No, right.
Over ABV, you know. They tend to be very balanced and approachable stylistically, kind of across the board. Is that really kind of due to the way in which you all are producing wines? Has it changed? Just because, once again, when I harken back to my memory of so many wines from Australia, that's not always the case, especially for the reds. So is that kind of your purpose?
No.
Intention?
No.
Okay.
We want to make wines that we like to drink.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So when you have it at the start, and we've talked about balance a few times, and having that lower alcohol at 14%, then you can still taste those fruits. The fruits are really fresh. That's the wine style that we like to drink.
Yes.
So the reason why we do that is because if no one buys it, guess who has to drink it?
That's
what we have to do. So.
It will not go wasted.
So you may as well make something that you want to drink.
Right.
And I think it's approachable. I think when people have it and you explain how it works and all of that, you're getting that nice freshness, the acidity. It's really, really well balanced. So
Absolutely.
Australian wine is very diverse, and I think that's a key thing see across everything. The wines that we produce are really fresh, crisp, clean wines.
Yeah, I think we also, we talk about acidity a lot in the trade, and sometimes people say, "Oh, acidity. You don't want acid, right?" But like by that, you just mean it's fresher. When a wine doesn't have the balance with acidity, it feels sort of blah or just clumsy, and like flabby is a good, I guess, right? And so like the acidity to me just shows that it's good structure, good backbone. Right.
And will last a long time.
Yes.
These wines here we drink, all of those, I'd be happy to drink those in 10 years, 12 years time. They'll mellow right out. They'll be well, I should have put more of that away, but unfortunately, we're here to sell it. So it's one of those things, but it'll be really good. So as a small winery, we've been around for about 11 years now.
11 years. Nice.
Every vintage we do of every bottle we put in our museum palace, right? So what we'll do eventually when we turn 20, we'll open every bottle and we'll have we'll have back vintages for 20 years of every wine.
Okay.
So you're going to come to Australia and
be
part of that?
I am.
Yeah.
So what did you just put up there, Bernie? The charcuterie?
Well, it's just a beautiful charcuterie board.
Is this the charcuterie we were talking about earlier today? Okay, you need to tell Bernie the process.
House-made stuff. So the prosciutto you've got on there, that's a dry rub prosciutto. Wow. Right, so that's dry rub for about 4 weeks. We then take it out, we smoke it over red gum. So red gum is like a hardwood in Australia. They're really nice flavors from it. So the eucalyptus tree,
Uh-huh.
you get really nice flavors. We then air dry it for another few weeks,
Uh-huh.
and then we smoke it one more time,
Okay.
and then I cry back it, and we leave it for about another 4 weeks. And it just gets this really nice, delicate flavor of smoke, but some other characteristics that it just really, really easy and goes really well with the cheese. So,
Right.
yeah, that all helps
sounds
make.
amazing.
Right, it does. It really does. It really does. So now I am I want to look at these grapes right here, and let's see, Pindy Farm Vineyards, Riesling, Sangiovese, Grenache, Montaro, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Shiraz. And have these been kind of sprayed with your natural sunscreen?
Those ones haven't at that
They
stage.
haven't.
So that,
Okay.
that's Sangiovese.
Okay.
So that Sangiovese goes into our rosé. So we do
Okay.
a nice, pretty salmon pink rosé.
Uh-huh.
Really, really lovely dry finish again as your weather warms up. Perfect for summer drinking. So
Okay.
Yeah, so-
Okay. And these right here looks to be the Riesling, I believe.
Riesling.
Yeah.
So this is one of the vineyards that we take fruit from. This is an old 80-year-old vineyard as well.
Uh-huh.
A lot of Riesling comes from this vineyard that we produce. So this is the Riesling that we don't have here today.
Okay.
Comes from that vineyard. So again,
Okay.
it's just a free run that comes from that vineyard. Goes into a really bone dry Riesling.
Gotcha.
And classic Eden Valley style of Riesling. So.
Okay. Is this one maybe the one that you use? This particular
No, I don't know. I don't
Riesling?
even know if
Okay.
we've got one
Great.
on the
Great.
website.
All right. I was looking
But
for Shiraz. I don't see Shiraz. But yeah, neat stuff. Neat stuff. I love
So
this.
that's the vineyard there on the website.
So
that you can see.
This is the vineyard here. Nice.
The Sangiovese is pretty loose cluster. Is the Shiraz tighter, or
The younger stuff. So if you're looking at that, can the viewers see the vineyard there?
The vineyard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Can they see that?
Sure.
So down to the right of the big tree, that's the Cabernet. That's the Cabernet vineyard.
Over here in
Yeah,
this area.
down there.
Okay.
Then we've got as we go up the hill, we've got 4 rows of Montaro. Then we've got 11 rows of the old Shiraz. So that was
Oh wow.
the part of the vineyard that was planted first. So it's on the better soils.
Okay.
As we come up to the left side of the tree, we get into some
here.
Riesling.
Okay. Over here.
We've got 9 rows of Riesling there. Then we go back into some Shiraz and the rest of the Montaro batch. This was a fruit cellar block, we call it. So what's happened is there's half rows of Montaro, half rows of Riesling, and on the other half we've got Shiraz. And as we move up the hill, we go into more Shiraz. And as we get right up the top, we've got our Sangiovese and our Grenache.
and now where do you go camping with your kids?
To the right around
Down here.
So
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's
It's a quick
awesome.
camping trip. You just go down to
awesome.
the bottom of the vineyard, and we've got a little woodland there, and that's where we go camping. So,
Oh, that is so cool. That is
And
so cool.
the majority of the majority of the Shiraz that we've had today comes from this area right in front of us. So on the top of the hill. So not, as you can see, we're looking out to the north. So this hill block, we call it, that's where the 28-year-old Shiraz is grown from there. So that's the backbone of the Shiraz products that we do. So, but yeah, very complex, a lot of diversity in the vineyard, which allows us to make. We've got 21 different bottles.
Right.
Yeah, so
Right,
it's one of those things that's sort of, we've had it, so we've been able to do it. So that's why we've got, GSMs, Motaros, straight Motaros, Grenaches. So a bit of fun to play around with. So.
I can imagine. What are you super excited about right now as far as what's happening at the vineyards? Any particular varietal, any styles?
At the moment, it's not my favourite time. It's the time where all the leaves are falling off in Australia.
Okay.
So we're going into, we'll be pruning. When I get back, I'll be here for another couple of weeks. We'll get back and then I'll start thinking about pruning.
Yeah.
So we'll prune the vine, which then sets it up for next year. So we sort of think about what we want to do as far as yield goes, what we're trying to achieve with our wines, and pruning is the key to that. How hard you go back and how much you cut off them. So yeah.
Wow.
So that's in front of us. So it's at the time where the vineyard doesn't look the best, but you can see where it's going to go. So we'll go into dormancy for a little while, and then we'll come out. They'll reshoot in late September. So that's when you start getting excited, because the new vintages around the corner, and you've got to look after what you've got. So, yeah.
Indeed, as everything is kind of on the opposite.
Correct,
yeah,
exactly
there,
right. So,
from the northern hemisphere.
we're going into our cold part of the year.
Right.
Yeah, we get -1s there, and it does get cold, and then we get 40 degrees, which is, I think, 100 Fahrenheit in summer. So,
Right.
but we get the good thing about Eden Valley, we do get these cooling breezes that come off the sea, and we get a warm day, great, but then it cools down overnight, so it gives the vines a chance to relax.
Good. Absolutely. Well, gosh, this has been so much fun. Christopher, I thank you so very much for coming, joining me for a live. I put you on the spot, and you were so up for it. So I thank you so very much. As always, Todd.
Always, Bernie.
Thank you. Everyone, Todd is introducing these wines to the market right now, folks. So they will be around. Come check them out at Chats and at some of your better restaurants and retailers in the DMV.
Absolutely.
Right, Todd?
That is right.
Indeed. Check Todd out very soon. He'll be here for a tasting at some point in time as well.
Maybe some of these. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe some of these. Absolutely. But we'll see you live in a few minutes, maybe in about another hour and a half for Whiskey Wednesday, everyone. Thanks for joining in. We'll see you next time for a chat around wine.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
A chat around.